Hello, guys. How are you? I hope you can hear me. So can you just type and say yes if you can hear me, just to make sure you can hear me well. And I don't know if you can see, but there's a place where you can write some messages. If you're on your phone, I think it would be somewhere else. Yes, okay. Thank you, Maria. I had a look at the list and I saw that I know some people, but most of you I don't know. Thank you, João. Thank you, Raquel. Hello, Raquel. How are you? Okay, thank you, Eric. Thank you, Escobar. Thank you. All right, so I think you guys can hear me well. But if you have any problems, okay, just type over there because unfortunately I can hear you, but I know you can see me. All right, so I think we should start. As I told you, thank you, Renata. Thank you. So as you know, I think some of you have already had a look at the ebook. Okay, so the class is based on the ebook. So I think we should start. I have a presentation for you guys. So I'm just going to share my presentation with you in 1 minute. Okay, just 1 second. Yeah, there you go. I hope you guys can see my screen. So again, just let me know if you can see the virtual class. Hi, Alice, how are you? Cool, all right, okay. So this is a virtual class, okay, based on the ebook, all right, that I created, based on my experience as an English teacher and especially helping people with the Ielts, all right, okay. So the next one here. So as you know, the book is the 10 myths. So things that people tell you and they're not actually accurate, okay? So in the book, we talked about writing, speaking, reading, and listening, okay? But today, okay, sorry, go back a little bit, sorry. Yeah, so I don't know if you have participated in a virtual class. Has anyone participated in a virtual class before? Can you just answer maybe yes or no? Okay, no, all right, okay. So this is your first one and I hope you like it, okay? So as you know, there will be a presentation, okay? You'll be able to see and listen to me. And if you have any questions, you can write in the comments, all right? So I can read the comments, okay, quite easily, all right? So what can we do in 1 hour? So unfortunately, we have just 1 hour, okay? And again, it's Saturday if you are in Brisbane, and if you're another place in the world, probably Friday night, okay? So we only have 1 hour. And in 1 hour, we can only deal with writing. So I think I will have to have another virtual class because unfortunately 1 hour is just enough to talk about the writing. But I think it would be good for you guys because the writing is actually the part that you guys most struggle with, all right? So what I'd like from you, okay, so it's a virtual class. I'm doing most of the talking, but I'd like to also have something from you guys. What I'd like to have from you, I'd like you to participate and ask questions. Like I said before, I can see what you guys are writing. So I'd like you to participate and ask questions, all right? And of course, enjoy the class, all right? So let's start, okay? Because this is a writing for Ielts, I would like to have one task to deal with as I explain everything, okay? So can you quickly just have a look at this task? Okay. So can you just tell me if you have written or dealt with this kind of task before? Agree or disagree? Okay, cool. So this is actually a very common one in the Ielts, right? So basically, let's go back a little bit. Yeah. So in some countries, an increasing number of people are suffering from health problems, okay? So this is basically talking about health food and then unhealthy food and fast food mostly. And they ask you to agree or disagree. And I consider some people agree with the topics, others have done it before, it's pretty cool. But the main thing here, so what you have to bear in mind is that the task is in agree, disagree, okay? And we'll keep that in mind, okay? So one of the first myths I mentioned in the book was that some people okay, that you should use set sentences. So have you been told in the past that you should use set sentences when you do the writing task? Yes or no? Can you let me know? Yes. And can you tell me, so Eric has never been told that. That's kind of good in a way. And can you just quickly tell me what you have been told? Just something. Why did people tell you to use set sentences? Raquel, because it's faster. Yeah, that's one reason. So Raquel mentioned that it's faster. It could be any other reasons, guys. Safer? Yeah, João. So maybe it could be safer, but it could also be a little bit dangerous, and I'll tell you why. Any other reasons, guys? No? Yeah, a lot of people also say it's easier because then you know what to write, okay? So I would like you to have a look at these two sentences, okay? So these two sentences are for that task, talking about food and talking about agree and disagree. So we have sentences number 1 and 2. Can you please tell me, okay, which one is the best one or 2? And if you can, why? So when you're ready, just type 1 or 2. Okay, most people think it's 1. Can you tell me why? Do you think 1 is better? Eric thinks it's number 2. Okay. Do you know why number 1 or 2 would be better, guys? If you don't know, you can just say don't know. It's okay, because I'll explain later. More elaborated. That's one reason. Number 2, because we can talk about 2 positions. Okay. So that could be true. So Renata mentioned that that 1 is talking about 2 things. That could be true also. Number 1 makes more sense the way it's written. Okay, so I agree with you, Vanessa. Number 1 makes a little bit more sense. Okay, cool. And now I'll tell you which one's the best one. Is number 1. Okay. And some of the things you said there, they are they are correct. But did you notice that in numbers 1 and 2, a part of it is exactly the same? So these 2 parts. So one possible reason for this is that, and the second one possible reason for this is that. What? Okay. So for that task with agree, disagree, this sentence that is underlined is a very common thing for you to use. However, people make a mistake. Do you know what's the problem in sentence 2, guys? If you don't know, you can just write don't know. So what do you think is the problem with sentence 2? A comma? Actually, a comma is okay there, Eric. A comma is not really a problem there. There's a worse problem. It's missing a verb. There is yes, it is missing a verb, but it's not just a verb that it's missing, Maria. There's something else missing. Anything else, guys? But I agree, Teresa, it is missing a verb. Adjective, Escobar, what do you mean by adjective? Yes, Tachi, the second part is grammatically wrong. And Tachi, do you know what's grammatically wrong with the second part? Adjective cheap is in the wrong position. Actually, Vanessa, cheap is okay there because talking about fast food. Okay, so cheap fast food, that's fine. Okay, but it is kind of in the wrong place in the sentence, yeah. And Tachi said something's missing, yeah. So basically, the thing is after you have one possible reason for this is that, you need subject and verb. Okay, so if you are not aware of the set sentence, you will probably make a mistake. Okay, so in this case here, one possible reason is that you need subject and verb, which we have in sentence 1. However, in sentence 2, we have adjective and noun. So it doesn't make any sense. All right, so imagine you're writing, okay, you finish your writing, you're doing the Ielts exam, and then the examiner reads that. The examiner will actually give you a really bad score because the examiner will notice that sentence 2 is here, but you don't know the grammar. Okay, so I think that set sentences are great. We should be using them as long as we know the grammar that comes after it. Okay, which in this case, so now you know, maybe you can take some notes or take a picture of the screen. Okay, so one possible reason for this is that, It's a very common set sentence, okay? You can use it with agree, disagree. However, when you finish that part, you need a subject and a verb, okay? If you don't have that, that would be incorrect, okay? So basically, you should be focusing on the first one. And I think that you can do that with any set sentence. If someone tells you, okay, that the thing is, if someone tells you that it's a set sentence and it's good, okay, you should look at the pattern, okay? So every time you have something like that, you should actually check the grammar that you need after, okay? Okay, now let's move on to the next one. Yeah, this is also an issue with a lot of people, okay? So you should do task 2 first. How many times have you been told that? Can you just tell me? Did someone tell you that you should do task 2 first? Many times. So Tati, can you tell me a little bit more about it? Why do people tell you to do task 2 first? Yeah, easier for time management. Okay, what about you guys? Any other reasons why? So Tati is saying time management is something. Anything else? Okay, so Eric's never heard about it before. Okay, yeah. Yeah, so Eric, so it is very common for people to tell you that you should do task 2 first. Okay. Anybody else? Any other reasons? No? Okay. All right, cool. So Renata mentioned, I prefer task 1 because to do and won't be nervous. Okay, task 2 first and be nervous, yeah. So yeah, I'll get to that later, Renata, but I agree. So as you can see, there's different opinions, okay? I don't think it is a rule, okay? Because there's also pros and cons. Vanessa? Okay. Okay, so Vanessa and Eric's the first time studying for the exam, right? Okay, cool. So it's okay if you don't have anything to say, okay? But I like to just to share a little bit. I think it's easier also, and I think it's good for me to know what you know. So Eric and Vanessa is the first time, okay? So Eric and Vanessa, it is very common for people to tell you that, okay? However, okay, if you do task 1 first, I think it's similar to what Renata said, okay? A lot of my students say it's a warm-up, okay? So like Renata said, I feel nervous if I do the difficult one first. So I warm up and I get ready and I relax by doing the easy one first. So if you do task 1 first, okay, it's fine, it's perfect, okay? But again, you have to pay attention to time management, okay? Because I've had students that work so hard in their task 1, it takes them half an hour, and then they have only, let's say, 30 minutes to finish task 2, which is much longer, right? So if you feel like you be more relaxed, okay, and if you feel that you need that time to actually settle, okay, and warm yourself up, task 1 is the best. And again, it is much easier because you just need 150 words. So it is quicker, okay? But then if you prefer to do task 2 first, which is the second one there, guys, it's easy to do if you do not have much time, okay? So the thing is, if you start with task 2, you have like the hour to focus on it, if you think about it, okay? And imagine that in your task 2, the topic is a little bit difficult, so you feel that you want to start with it and you need more time. So imagine you do it in 50 minutes, and then you have only 10 for task 1. It's not that bad, actually, because then you can write a letter in 10 minutes, but you cannot write a task 2 in 20, let's say, okay? So if you feel that it's much easier for you to write a letter, let's say if you're doing the general one, or to write the report if you're doing the academic one, okay, then it is better for you to start with task 2. And so Eric said, but if you're nervous and you start by second task, you can make more mistakes. And it's, Eric, I think it is actually very personal, okay? Like Renata said, in her opinion, it is better for her to start with 1. But I don't think, but again, Eric, there's people that they prefer to start with number 2, okay? Because it's they have more time and they feel a bit more relaxed. Okay, so I honestly think that, is it Vanessa and Eric? Yeah, it's the first time, okay? So when you start practicing, okay, my suggestion is actually to try both, okay? So give yourself 1 hour, get one task, give yourself 1 hour, okay? And then you can start with task 1 and task 2, check how you feel, and check your score. But the next time you try, you can do the other way around. You can start with task 2 and then task 1, okay? I personally like to start with task 2, okay? Because I think that, especially if you're talking about the letter in the general one, it's very easy, okay? And then if I start with and if I'm doing the academic one, same thing. So Vanessa actually prefers to do task 2. Why, Vanessa? Can you tell us a little bit about it? Okay. Yeah. So again, but it's really personal. I've had people telling me that they got a better score when they did task 1 first. Okay, but again, the thing is, it's like the order. Yes, I agree with that, Eric. But there's also psychological part, okay? Some people are the type of people that like to get the first thing, the easy thing done first, and then go ahead to the difficult one. And some people like to get the difficult things done first and then go to the easy one. That's me, okay? However, it's really up to you guys. So like I said before, okay, it is your decision, okay? And that's it. Yeah. So I don't know. I think it comes down to personality, okay, and whatever gets you the best score, okay. So that's why practice is so important, okay. Yeah. So that's what Vanessa said. Yeah. So, but Vanessa said something similar to what I just said, right? It's actually the fact that that you. Yes. So Vanessa said you practice both ways. Yeah. So again, I'm the kind of person that I like to get rid of the big thing and then I can relax and do the easy stuff after. But some people like to start with the easy stuff and then just do it as quickly as possible and get on to the difficult stuff. But as you can see, it's really up to you, okay? And you decide what's the best thing for you to do, okay? Do you have any more questions concerning this topic, guys? Task 1 first, task 2 first. Yeah, I agree, Eric. Yeah, that's why I thought that I think this is a myth, because a lot of people tell me test you first, test you first, test you first, and I used to say that to my students. I don't know, 4 or 5 years ago, but as time went by, I noticed that some people they said, no, I got a better score when did task 1 first. So that's why I decided to talk about this myth, because I don't think this is a rule. I think it's very personal. Okay, so if someone tells you you have to do task 2 first, just say, wait a minute, okay, I'm not sure it's the right thing for me, I'll try both. Okay, but there's a lot of people saying that you should do task 2 first and it's a rule, which I don't think is true. Okay, do you guys have any other questions concerning this topic? No? No, thank you, Eric. Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. Cool. No, thanks. Okay, Vanessa. Thank you, Andrea. Okay, so I'll move on to the next one then. Okay. All right, next one. So idioms. You should use idioms in your writing. Do you guys know what idioms are? Can you just say yes or no? No, Raquel doesn't know what idioms are. Thiago, yes. No, okay. Oh my God, no. Okay, so yeah. So if you know what it is, can you quickly explain what it? Can you give me an example? I'm just reading your book. So Eric, so do you remember what it is? Can someone just quickly write what it is, just if you remember? Yeah, Thiago has an example. It's raining cats and dog. It's raining cats and dogs. So Thiago gave an example there. Okay, yeah. So idioms, sorry. So idioms are basically a set of sentences, okay, that basically only make sense in that specific language. Okay, for example, Thiago gave the example, it's raining cats and dogs. So when we say it's raining cats and dogs in English, we mean heavy rain, is raining a lot. But just imagine that if you are in your country and you say it's raining cats and dogs in your language, that won't make any sense. So this is called an idiom. Okay, so there's so many of them in English. I particularly find them fascinating. I think it's really cool, but not so much for the Ielts exam. Okay, so has anyone ever studied for Cambridge? Has anyone done a Cambridge course? Yes, Tachi has. Raquel, no. Okay, Thiago, yes. Okay, yeah. So if you have done a Cambridge course, you probably know what an idiom is. Okay, Vanessa, a long time ago, yeah. So in the Cambridge exam, either if it's FCE, CAE, CP, it doesn't matter. Idioms are part of the exam. Okay, so it's a part of the exam, so you have to know it for many different reasons. Okay, so you study a lot of it if you study for Cambridge. However, in the Ielts, not so much. All right, so idioms tend to be a little bit spoken. All right, or informal. Okay, so if you have a look at the sentence, let's go out for dinner, but we'll go Dutch. When we say go Dutch, I bet that in your language it doesn't mean anything, but in English, do you know what it means? If you go out for dinner and you go Dutch. Alicia says share the cost. Anybody else know what it is? No, Tachi doesn't know. No, yeah. So Alice was correct, okay? So if you go Dutch, okay, if you go out for dinner and you go Dutch, okay, sorry, not yet, I'm gonna give them in yet, 1 minute. And this one here, the Ielts is a piece of cake. When I say something is a piece of cake, do I mean it is a piece of cake? What do I mean? That's a popular one. Yeah, that means easy. Yeah, that means easy. Correct. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So, as Alice mentioned before, okay. So when you go Dutch, it means that you split the bill. You share the cost. So, for example, I'll say to Alice, okay, so Alice, let's go out for lunch, but we'll go Dutch, meaning I'll pay my bill and she'll pay the bill. Okay. Okay, Tachi, you disagree. It was just an example, Tachi. Okay. However, the more you study, the easier it gets. And maybe in a few months, you'll be saying that the Ielts is a piece of cake. Okay, Tachi. All right. And again, yeah. So when we say something is a piece of cake, it means it's easy. Okay, Tachi, keep studying. Okay. All right. And we will be fine. Okay. It's all about the practice. All right. And you will say, the Ielts is a piece of cake. You think of me when you get your score. All right. Okay. So yeah, guys. I'll come. Okay. So Eric wants to change the idiom to a whole piece of cake. But then you get fat, Eric. So I think it's good that it's just a piece of the cake. Okay. All right. So as I was saying, all right. So when we talk about idioms, okay, they are not the best for the Ielts exam, but I've had a lot of students saying, oh, we have to use idioms, we have to use idioms, okay? So as I said before, so idioms, they are slightly informal, okay? And they mean something very specific in that context, okay? No, Tachi, idiom is not a slang. So idioms, they are cultural, let's say, and they are maybe from the past. Slangs, they are created daily, all right? So things are a little bit different. And for example, you can find lots of idioms in the dictionary, but not so many idioms in the, in the dictionary, let's say, okay? You find like the Urban Dictionary, which is quite helpful sometimes, yeah. And they are new words. Slangs are kind of new words, whereas idioms, they are more like old words. All right, good. All right. So as I was saying, it tends to be a little bit more informal. So I just said that maybe in the writing is not the best option. Do you know where in the exam idioms could be helpful? Can you just type it, please? Speaking. Alice said speaking. Mirella said speaking. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay, I agree. So in the speaking part, so the speaking part, that's my suggestion, okay? So if you think that you really want to use some idioms, okay, you can use the speaking part. And which part, so which speaking part do you think is the most useful? 1, 2, or 3? Which one do you think would be more helpful? If you are familiar with the Ielts. Alice said part 1 and 2. Alice, why do you think parts 1 and 2 are the best ones to use the idioms, of course? Andrea, also first time. Okay, Andrea. So Andrea, the speaking part in the Ielts has 3 parts, okay? And Alice mentioned that parts 1 and 2 should be using the idioms in parts 1 and 2. And Alice, can you tell us a little bit more about that? Why parts 1 and 2? Mm-hmm. Part 2, general. Okay, maybe. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree with Alice there. Okay, so so part 1 in the speaking, so that goes for the people who are not familiar with the exam. Okay, so part 1 in the speaking test, it's you talk about yourself, and not really about yourself, but more about general topics. And because it's likely more informal, then you'll be okay to use idioms. And also part 2, in which you have to talk for 2 minutes. If the topic requires 1, or if you feel like using it, that's perfect. However, part 3 in the speaking is a little bit more abstract, and the questions are a little bit more difficult, maybe slightly more formal. So I would suggest you don't use it in part 3. All right, good. Any questions concerning this part now, guys? If you have any more questions, just let me know. Thank you, Eric. Okay, thank you, Andrea. Thank you, Vanessa. Okay. Cool. All right, so let's move on. So this is the last one, actually. 4. Okay, so you do not need a plan. So, personally speaking, do you use a plan when you write for the Ielts? Yes or no? Can you just please let me know? Yes, Mirelle, well done. Mirelle, very good. Yes, very good. Yes, Anata. Whoa, very good. Anybody else? Okay, I'm sorry, Eric. You can't answer it. Okay, so Vanessa, so touchy. So you were told to do, but you were very resistant. So that means that, so the question is for touchy. So that means that you didn't use it and now you do, or you still don't like it. And I agree, Vanessa. You're more organized and more confident. I agree. That you think it's hard. Okay, that is not that hard. I'll tell you a little bit about it. That it is not a waste of time. Okay, so it's funny, Tachi, because that's what I have here. Look at this. A lot of people say it's a waste of time and it's not helpful. Okay, I completely disagree. Okay, and I think I told you before, I work at Langports here in Brisbane. Okay, and at the moment I'm teaching the TOEIC course, and we do a lot of writing. And one of the requirements for the writing is a plan. Okay, and if I don't know if you have seen some of my videos on YouTube about writing, there's one video only about the plan. So Tachi, I suggest you have a look at it, but I'll try to help you a little bit now too, because I think that the plan is super duper important, and you should be you should be writing a plan before you start writing. I'll tell a little bit why. Okay, all right, okay. So I think that, so Vanessa already mentioned, all right? So it helps you with the organization, all right? So again, if you think about that task that we saw before, I think it's here. 1 second. Yeah. So remember that task, okay? Yeah, I agree with Mirelli too. Yeah, without a plan, you might forget to write something important. I agree, Mirelli, okay? And we'll get to that now. So it helps with the organization. Vanessa mentioned that, okay? So one of the things that you have to know, for example, is like how many paragraphs you need, okay? And you only know that if you have a plan, Okay. And what happens sometimes also, Tachi, is that you start writing, and then when you get to the end of the paragraph or the middle of the paragraph, you're like, oh God, I forgot something. And you have to go back, but you can't because it's already written. Okay. If you're doing things on the computer, that's slightly easier. Okay. But I still think that it helps the organization. Okay. So you know about the Ielts, right, guys? So in the Ielts, we have 4 parts. So we have task achievement, coherence and cohesion, lexical resource, and grammar. So your grade is divided in 4 parts. When we have a plan, we are making sure we have the task achievement, right? That we are doing what they asked. But most importantly, when you have a plan, you're working with your coherence and cohesion, okay? So what happens sometimes is that people, when they start writing, they repeat themselves. But if you have a plan, you know exactly what you need in each part, okay? And that's very, very helpful. Okay, and then Tachi said it's a waste of time. Okay, and I say it saves time. Okay, Tachi. So the thing is, even if it takes you 10 minutes to write your plan, your writing process is so much easier. Okay, because just the fact that you stop and you analyze things and you think about what goes here, what goes in the introduction, what goes in paragraph 1, paragraph 2, and then your conclusion. Okay, so when you are doing that, when you're going through that process, it's already helping you with your writing. And if you have a good plan, your writing is ready. So just in the classroom with some of my students, the first time we make a plan together, I actually get one student and we make the plan on the board. And then when we finish the plan, the student's smiling. And I said, why are you smiling? Oh, because my writing's ready. Yes, the writing's ready. So he just takes a picture, goes home and does the writing. Everybody else in the class had to start from the beginning. Okay. So when you finish the writing, when you finish the plan, your writing is like ready. Okay. However, that goes for Tachi, who thinks a waste of time. Okay. It is a waste of time if you spend 10 minutes on the plan and you don't use it. Okay, so it's funny because I've had students, so I read their writing and I start reading, like for the Ielts, for example, and I start reading and I go like, this paragraph here, I don't think this paragraph was in your plan. She goes, how do you know? Because it has nothing to do with the writing. So no, I was writing and I decided to add as I was writing. I said, so it wasn't on the plan. She goes, no. And I said, that's wrong. Okay, so it's usually, okay, Tachi, okay. So yeah, so I can see, when I read the writing, I can see what was on the plan and what wasn't on the plan. That's why it makes so much sense to make a plan. All right, and also another thing, you make sure you have everything you need. So I think we mentioned talking about the task itself. Brainstorm. So Eric talked about brainstorm. Yeah. So the brainstorm, Eric, that's a good way of looking at it. Okay, but just remember, when you say brainstorm, basically you're just writing words, right? However, in the plan itself, we have to think of the word, but put it in the right place. So I think it's a little bit different from a brainstorm. Maybe the brainstorm is happening here, but as it comes out, you have to organize it. Okay, yeah. So again, so like the example of the task we talked about today, there's like agree, disagree, and then we have health food, but then the fast food is cheaper. So you have that things in your mind. And when you have your plan, you look at the task again, look at your plan. Do I have everything? Yes, I do. Ready, start writing. Okay, so that's the best thing. And again, when you have everything you need, you will get a great score for your task achievement. Okay, so Tati, did I convince you? Yes or no? I think I have a convert now. I think Tati will make a plan next time. Definitely. Okay, cool. My job is done here. I can go now. No, I can't go yet. We have 20 minutes. Okay, so yeah, so the plan is extremely important. Okay, so just an example here. So back to our task. Okay. So have a quick look again, guys. And can you just tell me how many paragraphs do you think you need? Just write the number there. 3 to 4, 4, 5, okay. So Aline, why do you think you need 5? So Eric, task achievements, yes. If you want, Eric, you can send me an email later, and I'll send you the task. They call it the band descriptors. So what do you do, and like from 1 to 9, okay. Okay, so Aline says 4 to 5 depends. Brenda said 3 to 4. Okay, 3 to 4, cool. Okay, so my advice for the Ielts is usually 4. Team to support, did one conclusion, Vanessa, yeah. 1 intro, 2 or 3 examples, 1 conclusion, yeah, okay, yeah. So Aline, the problem with the 2 or 3 examples, you mean 2 or 3 paragraphs. So yeah, guys, so usually we would have introduction, 1, 2, 2 or 3, and then the conclusion. Aline, the problem with having 2 or 3 paragraphs is that maybe you don't have enough time to write, okay? And also, guys, I think it's better to talk about quality, not quantity. Okay, Aline, so maybe you are better off just having 2 paragraphs and really supporting your ideas, giving examples and expanding, explaining just one topic, because I feel that you express yourself better, and also you people see a more command of the language when you have one thing and you talk a lot about it, okay? So usually you would have like 1 topic sentence, and then you explain a little bit more, and then you go on to give an example. So maybe 2 to 3 would take a long time to write. So maybe you'd have, I don't know, need 300 words. So if you have 3, so 2, 3, 4, no, sorry, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, so the 3 paragraphs you mentioned. Okay. So yeah, so maybe you won't be able to explore it as much. So that's my advice, okay? So guys, as you can see here, maybe introduction, agree, disagree, and then conclusion. Okay. So when you have that plan, okay, when you have that plan there, so you have intro, skip a few lines, agree, skip a few lines, agree, skip conclusion. You look at the task and you go on and you put your ideas, okay? So just so we can think a little bit about it. So for example, number 2 would be agree. So maybe Tachi, okay, for agree, can you think of one idea for agree? So maybe number 2, agree. And then Aline, can you think of one idea for disagree? And then Vanessa, can you think of one for agree? Okay, who else is here? Eric, maybe, can you think of one for disagree? And Mirelli. Okay, so can you just write some ideas there, guys? So number 2, agree and write an idea. 3, disagree, write an idea. So you can practice a little bit the plan. And again, with the plan, you need keywords. Okay, so fast food will make you sick. Okay, so agree. So yes, so Tachi, so agree. So you agree, fast food makes you sick. Okay, that's one thing. And then anybody else? Maybe one for disagree now, and then one for agree. Just ideas. And again, guys, you don't need full sentences. Okay, so Tachi, for example, you could have fast food, sick. Just keywords. Don't need like full sentences. Because then that saves you time too. Okay, and then you have like blah, blah. And then when you're writing, that's when really you get to write your full sentences. Okay. Okay, so again, agree. So fast food sick, that's okay. And then like Renata also wrote like a full sentence. You don't need a full sentence. You could have something like fast food, no time to cook. Okay, that also saves time. Okay. Food more expensive. Yes, Raquel, you usually have to agree and disagree. Okay, because to what extent do you agree or disagree? So usually say, oh, I disagree with this, and then you go, I agree with that. And then maybe in your conclusion, you can actually say exactly what you think. Okay, so it's a good idea to write your opinion at the end. Okay, good health, vacation, good things, agree, because it depends on how often people eat fast food. Okay, Okay, guys. So yes, so that's the thing, all right? So if you weren't many questions, people, okay. So yeah, so if we were in the classroom, I think that we would almost have like our plan ready, just with these ideas that you guys gave me. Okay, so then of course, if you want to spend some time with the introduction, also you can write some key things in the introduction. Let's just quickly think about, so maybe, I don't know. So Eric, can you think of one or two things for introduction maybe? And then Renata, introduction, Lina, introduction. And Andrea, maybe one or two ideas for the conclusion. Maybe Raquel also conclusion. Okay, so just, okay. Just one or two ideas for the conclusion or intro, which actually are the quickest ones, okay? Like in the introduction, like people tell you to paraphrase, but you don't necessarily need to paraphrase. Okay, let's just think of some ideas there. Okay, so Eric, growing demand of organic food. Do you think we go in the introduction or conclusion, Eric? Intro, all right, okay. Okay, yeah. So like Eric said, so growing demand of organic food, so that could be the introduction. Then he says, however, there's people who still like to eat fast food, even though it's more common. And then you can talk about, oh yeah, maybe fast food is good because it's easy. However, it's very unhealthy. And then you go for the conclusion later. Okay, cool, all right. So Rodrigo, yes, it is okay as long as you put in the conclusion. All right. So when they usually say blah 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 and give your opinion in the task. If they say give your opinion in the task, I suggest maybe you have one paragraph just for the opinion, just to make sure you have it. Okay, but you shouldn't express your opinion in the introduction. Okay, neither in the paragraphs. Okay, so maybe save it for one full paragraph if it is a requirement. Okay, or just do it in the conclusion. Okay, because the conclusion is okay. It's fine. And I do believe that if you finish the conclusion with your own opinion, it actually, I think you get a good score because you are expressing yourself a little bit and making sure that whatever you said before made sense. All right. Very important that inclusion, very important. The government create laws to constrain consumer fast food. Oh my God, that's a good word there, Andrea. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So that would be good. So that's a good conclusion also. So again, so if you're talking about agree, disagree, okay. So in this case, Andrea, you're basically saying that that you think that it is a problem and people should do something about it. Okay. Andrea, you don't have audio. Oh my God. Did anybody else can hear me? Did anything happen? Can you hear me? Yes, okay. Yeah, I do, okay. So, okay, so Andrea, maybe put the volume up. I don't know. But let's just try a few things around and let me know if you have any other problems. Okay, all right, okay. So yeah, guys, so the plan, but like Tachi, I think that it requires practice, but I do believe that you will improve your writing a lot if you start having if you start doing the the plan. Making the plan, not doing the plan, making the plan. Okay, guys, you have any extra questions concerning this topic? Yeah, I agree with Eric. Yeah, and just make sure you plug in properly because yesterday I had a student on Skype and I didn't plug in properly and I couldn't hear him. Okay, any other questions, guys? Oh, good. Tati said, oh, good. Okay, Rodrigo, what kind of expressions? What do you mean by expressions? Are you talking about the set sentences, Rodrigo? All right, okay, yeah. So again, so you're talking about the the transitions, okay, and adverbs, okay? So that's what you're talking about there. So, it depends on what you're writing, okay? So if you want, again, send me an email and I can send you some materials, okay? And it depends. So when it comes to this one, okay, because it's agree, disagree, I suggest you use contrast, like on the other hand is a good one. Save the my opinion for maybe the conclusion, okay? So you can use them all, but it depends on the task. And it depends what you're trying to say. So for example, if you are talking about this and that, you should use the ones for addition, like in addition to, besides, also, okay? The in fact, for example, you can use when you're going to introduce an example, let's say, okay? But then you need specific ones for whatever you're gonna say, okay? Do you think we need to plan to start each paragraph? Yeah. So Renata, I think that you should have a plan for the whole thing. Okay. So basically similar to what we have there. So intro, agree, disagree, conclusion. Okay. So you look at the task, you go intro, paragraph 1, I don't know, advantages, disadvantages, discuss both views, one view, another view. So you should have all of that there. And as I think Eric mentioned, a brainstorm. Okay, so brainstorm and you put whatever comes to your mind, you see where you go, okay? And you put things in the right place. And after that, you start writing, okay? So basically, you have your plan on the side and then you start writing. And you always refer to the plan. Okay, does it make sense? Did I answer your question, Renata? Yeah, so that comes down to like actually elaborating the text. Yeah, so I wouldn't say the same words, but that's bad. So that comes down to what Rodrigo mentioned before. Okay, so you should start with maybe the transitions. Okay, but it's whatever you need. So imagine that you were talking about agree, and then the third paragraph is disagree. You should start with something that will contrast what you said before. So whoever is reading will know that whatever you're saying, the next paragraph is the opposite of what you said before. Okay, but like I said to Rodrigo, okay, there's a list of words you can use. If you're adding something, okay. For example, if you're talking about reasons, another reason is, and you can start a sentence with that in the same paragraph. And then if you give an example, for example, I think that's what you're saying, right? So again, you have a list of words and it really depends. Okay, so just send me an email later, okay, and I can give you some ideas. Okay, so Raquel, that's a good question. How many lines paragraph should have? João, I'll give you my email at the end. Okay, thank you. So how many lines you should have? So basically, depends on your handwriting. Okay, but I would always suggest, so lines, I would say maybe 3 to 4. Lines or sentences? Okay, so Raquel, question, is lines or sentence that you mean? Lines, it depends on your handwriting. Sentences, 3 to 4. Okay, so I'd say 3 to 4. Because you have your topic sentence, you explain a little bit, give an example, maybe write a little bit more. Okay, Aline, I will have another one. I will have to have another one because like I said before, in the ebook, we have 10 myths, but today we only have time for 4. Okay, so maybe in about 2 weeks' time, we have another one, but just keep an eye on Instagram. Okay, all right, okie dokie. Any other questions concerning this topic, guys? I hope Andrea can hear me now. Cool, thank you. All right, cool. So yeah, okay, so today, okay, thank you, Linnea. Okay, Eric, can you tell me what the answer was? You should use that sentences, yes or no, and why? Yeah. So I wouldn't just say subject verb, okay? I would say depending on the sentence, okay, you need the exact grammar. So just think about the grammar, okay, that you need after. I love the sentence, I want to use it. Make sure you know the grammar, okay? Yes, Andrea. So Andrea, we're talking about the set sentences. Okay. So it's okay to use set sentences as long as you know what comes after. Okay. So we're good with that. Cool. And the next one we talked about was doing task 2 first. So what was the answer for this one? Should we do task 2 first? Yes or no? What do you remember? Eric, depends on you, not about you. It's up to you, right, Raquel? It's okay. Okay, depends on you. Yeah, it's up to you. You decide. Okay, cool. And then the next one, you should use idioms in your writing. What was the answer for this one? What did we find out? Not a good idea in the writing. I agree, Raquel. Speaking part, very good, Aline. We should save the idiom for the speaking part. Yes, Vanessa, only in the speaking parts because it's a bit too informal. Yeah, not for the Ielts and the speaking part, especially 1 or 2 in the speaking part. Cool. And then the last one, Kachi, you do not need a plan. What do you think of that? For sure, yeah, definitely the plan, guys. You do need a plan. Thank you, Tachi. I think I convinced you. Cool. All right, guys. So I think that is very helpful. Yes. Okay. So do you have any questions concerning these topics? Renata, I don't understand your question. Oh, for task 1. Okay. So Renata, I think that this one is a whole new class. Okay. But so if you want, Renata, I can send you an example later, okay? But we don't have time for that now, unfortunately, okay? But I think you're talking about task 1, right, Renata? But task 1, are you talking about general or academic? Because the reason I didn't talk much about task 1, because it's much simpler, okay? So if you have any extra questions concerning task 1, okay, academic, yeah. So if you have any questions concerning task 1, can you send me an email and your specific questions? Okay, because you probably know a little bit about it already. So the academic one, can you just send me an email with your specific questions and I'll try my best to answer it. Okay, Eric, we're gonna have more. Maybe in 2 weeks' time, okay, because just as I was planning, because my plan was to have 1 hour for the 10 minutes, okay? However, it wasn't enough time, okay? So yeah, so we'll definitely have another one, Eric. So keep an eye on your emails and everything to see when the next one's gonna have, maybe in 2 weeks' time, okay? Oh, Renata, yeah, my idea is, okay. So Renata, so just send me an email with some of your questions or doubts and I'll try my best to answer them, okay? So yeah, so Tachi, I have not tried the computer-based Ielts yet, okay? But maybe it is a good option, especially because you get your results a bit quicker, right? But it is a little bit different and maybe with the typing is slightly easier, especially if you have a bad handwriting like I do. My handwriting is terrible, okay? And if you're a fast typer, another thing that's good too, okay? But remember that you have to practice a little bit doing the computer, but there's lots of tutorials online on YouTube telling you what to do. For example, we have that one that you have to match paragraphs, right? So you have to drag, so it's good to know that stuff before you actually do it. But I think it's the same exam, the exact same exam. There's no issues there, okay? So Eric, you're coming to Brisbane. Very cool. Okay, thank you. Okay, remember please. Oh, Renata, my email is on the next page. Okay, yeah. So well done for you guys. Okay. Okay. So now you are one step closer to your desired score. Okay. So Andrea, you're gonna do the TOEIC. Oh, cool. Very nice. Yeah, I'll be there for the TOEIC course. Okay. All right, guys. So how are you feeling now? Just tell me how you're feeling. Are you feeling good, feeling bad? Okay. Okay. You feeling good? Yeah. One more. Okay. Yeah. So guys, so the next virtual class. Okay. So my Instagram is Fabi_English. Okay. So I have Facebook. Sorry, Facebook. No, sorry. Instagram. Okay. And also YouTube. Okay. So our virtual class will happen in maybe 1 or 2 weeks. Okay. So like I said before, that's my email. You guys were asking about my email. Okay, so that's my email there. So fabi@fabienglish.com. So if you have any questions, like Renata has some questions, Rodrigo did too. Okay, and also, if you really need something right now, if you're going to do the Ielts anytime soon, okay, you can book a private class with me too. Okay, so I teach on Skype, and if you're in Brisbane, I also teach in person. Okay, so if you really need that extra help, okay, just let me know. Okay, and like I said, I spend most of my time at Linkport, okay, but I also see private students, okay. So if you could take a picture of my email, guys, because lots of you asked for my email. Okay, so did you get the email? Okie dokie, yeah. So guys, I'd like to say thank you very much. Lots of you have said thank you already, so it was a pleasure. Okay, but again, you have my email. Okay, you can contact me on Instagram. You can contact me on by email. Okay, if you have any questions, maybe it'll take me a while to reply. Takes me about 1 day, let's say, but I will reply to your answers. Okay, and if you have any other questions, just let me know. Okay, any final questions? Okay, yeah. So I think you're done for the Saturday. Okay, so. Go enjoy your Saturday, or if you're in Brazil, your Friday night. Okay, so I'm gonna go now. Okay, and still Friday night in Brazil. Yeah. Okay. So yeah. So just thank you, Aline. You too. Okay. Yeah. So just send me a message if you have any other questions. All right, guys. But there will be another one. Okay. Not sure when, but I'll let you know. Okie dokie. All right. You're very welcome. You too, Rodrigo. Have a great weekend. Okay. Thank you, Tachi. Thank you, Aline. Okay. Thank you. Thank you. That's great, Tachi. Thank you very much. Thank you. You're welcome, Vanessa. You're welcome, Eric. Okay. Okay. And instead of saying anxious, maybe you can say excited. Excited. Thank you too, Eric. Have a great weekend. Okay. See ya. See ya. Okay. So bye-bye, guys. See ya. Bye.